for exams, on the faculty. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, they prosecute them.
A start when you like a start of a case.
Yeah.
Hello viewers, welcome to our third transmission this year, to our third video. This time we will be talking about a topic that is very dear to my heart, and that is food. Specifically, we will talk about food safety, the importance of food labeling, of the ingredients, and of denominations such as DOP, as EGP, and so on. And to talk about this very important topic for Italians and Slovenians alike, here we have today Ambassador Carlo Campanile, accredited ambassador of Italy to Slovenia. We have Ms. Nadia Skirk from the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Food of Slovenia. She is the head of the sector for food safety at the Administration for Food Safety, Veterinary and Plant Protection. We have Ms. Alenka Urek, who is perhaps one of the most important importers of Italian food here in Slovenia, thing for what I'm eternally grateful to her. And we have Colonel Amedeo De Franceschi, the commander of the unit of the Carabinieri, of the Italian Carabinieri, that hunts agri-food fraud and sophistication. We will be talking about two different but related topics. One is exactly food fraud, fake food, and the other is food awareness in Slovenian and Italian consumers about things that go beyond the price, such as exactly DOP, as front of pack etiquettes, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, let me give the floor to Ambassador Carlo Campanile. Please, Ambassador.
Thank you, Ivo. And first of all, it's my turn to thank you, all our guests, for having accepted our invitation. This initiative takes place in the context of the 7th edition of the Week of the Italian Cuisine in the World. That is part of a broader framework of our nation branding campaign entitled Italy is Simply the Best, Be It. So the title of this edition is quite long, quite complicated, so I will read it out. Conviviality, sustainability and innovation, the ingredients of Italian cuisine for the health of individuals and the protection of the planet. So we had an agenda very rich in events, and so this is in fact the final event of our week. And as usual, this format provides us with a platform to showcase our the Italian culinary traditions, our taste, our savoir-faire, and of course to promote our excellencies, well-renowned all around the world. But this is also an occasion to draw the attention of the public on some specific topics, technical problems, as the one we requested our guests today to address during this emission. And we will be talking about fake foods, with a special mention of the Italian fake food. The so-called agro-piracy became a crime in Italy since 2020 and is increasing, especially on the web. You rightly mentioned there are different phenomena. This is the food counterfeit, which is punishable under the law of the majority of countries. But we also have some different kind of phenomena like Italian sounding. It's especially, it's a way of marketing food and beverage with some kind of Italian label, and but which are produced elsewhere, and that's commercial practice that induce the consumers in buying something, believing that is produced in Italy according to our strict rules on safety and health. And so this is a phenomenon that affect our production, affect our one of the most important segments in our productive system. But it is, at the end of the day, harmful to the health of the consumers. So we just mentioned some figures concerning this phenomenon and why it's so important to address this issue in the framework of the Week of the Italian Cuisine. According to a 2021 Coldiretti report, in the last 10 years, the phenomenon has grown by 70%. Fake made in Italy food products with no productive or employment link with our country are 66%. On the North American market, USA and Canada, 97% of pasta sauces and 76% of so-called Italian canned tomatoes are fake. Cross data from the customs agency revealed that over 600 Italian-sounding products were detected, and that in the 2-year period of the pandemic alone, the value of Italian-sounding agri-food came close to 1 billion euros, 100 billion euros, of which 23 billion only in the United States. More than 2 out of 3 food products on sale abroad are fake, and according to Federalimentari, the phenomenon is on the increase, while in 2010 the fake made in Italy foods in the world was 48%. In 2018, it rose to 64%, and it will reach 75% in 2026, according to some credible, reliable forecasts. So we are really affected. We are really concerned for our productive system, but of course, there's a fight also in the interest of the consumers, of the clients, of the buyers, because at the end of the day, it's to the detriment of their health. This fight for the health of the final buyers of food products.
Thank you, Ambassador. And exactly about this, I would like to ask Ms. Jurek, what is the level of awareness of importance of factors such as DOP or biocertification for Slovenian consumers? And are Slovenian consumers and buyers reading and taking into account information such as ingredient list or front of pack labeling or this sort of evident information, and how those factors influence the choices of Slovenian buyers and consumers?
Yeah, nowadays the buyers is, let me say, more aware. They have more knowledge about this, and the young generations, I think that I noticed that they follow ingredients, and yeah, they follow. They follow the labels, the backside of the products. Of course, world is changing day per day, and it's not easy to say today is like this. But if we compare, for example, 10 years ago, I'm sure that the customer has more and more knowledge about this. If you ask me about the difference, if they noticed DOP or EGP products, I think that customer, but not just in Slovenia, I thought also abroad, need much more teaching, because it is we need to teach them what is the difference between DOP or EGP, and we have a lot of work in the future to do this. But it is the future, in this product, and if they will understand difference, they will also follow and find the best product, the real product on the shelf.
Thank you so very much. And up to now we talk about things that are damaging to the economy and misleading to the consumers, but probably or sometimes not dangerous to the health and safety of consumers. But now I would like to talk about real fake food that may be completely fake, completely or even dangerous to the consumers. And for this, I would turn to Miss Nadia Skirk. So can you explain to us what is food fraud and tell me how safe should I feel in Slovenia?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, dear distinguished colleagues. It is a pleasure to talk with you today and exchange the information on food frauds. Let's say, unfortunately, the food frauds are gaining more and more attention from us. The reasons for this are several. One of these is, of course, the globalization of the trade. We know that there is a lot of internet sale where we cannot follow always who is the seller. On the other hand, we also can say that we count much more cases due to exchange of information among member states, as well as also based on the analytical results we obtain. We know that we have some analytical methods, not enough, but the things are improving. Perhaps I should explain a little bit more about the legislation in place. Already in 2002, the General Food Law, as one of the aims, said that the consumer should be protected against counterfeited foods and food frauds. In there, it is also written that consumers cannot be misled, whether by the labeling, whether by the advertisement or any presentation. So already in 2002, all of the member states, the official control were appointed to follow this, and of course the food business operators were obliged to follow the legislation. In 2017, there was also, let's say, a major change in the official control requirements since European Union adopted new regulation, where it is actually written that official control bodies in all of the member states should take into account, when doing the regular planning, also the possibility, the risk of food fraud. And also based on this, we're getting more and more information, we're catching up new cases, we're developing the methods for the detection, we're sharing information, and for this particular reason, we have much more data, and for this reason, we have also, let's say, you can actually measure what is the damage due to food frauds. Perhaps I'd like to also explain what are the definitions of the food fraud. I'd like to show it on a screen. Actually, if you want to talk about food fraud, the European Commission set in the legislation that the 4 elements should be actually met. One is, of course, the violation of EU legislation. This is number 1. Number 2 is deception of consumers. This deception can be done in a way that it's only, let's say, a quality issue. On the other hand, we have also cases when you have a health issue. In such a case, it's much more dangerous one, but luckily we don't have that many. The 4th criteria is, of course, economic gain, because the perpetrator should earn some money. And the fourth criteria, which is in our experience the most difficult to prove and to find, is to find a proof of intention. So that the business operator has intentionally done something to mislead the consumer and to obtain the economic gain. Food frauds can happen in many ways. Perhaps if you can show the slide number 2. So how the food fraud happens, there can be a dilution. So you actually dilute very expensive ingredient with one which is less expensive. You can actually substitute. So again, you can use cheaper ingredient and substitute it with the another one. And then, of course, you have also counterfeited products where you actually break the intellectual property rights. And there are also some other ones. So the counterfeiters have many possibilities to break up the law and actually gain some money. Just for an example, if you take papaya seeds, they look exactly the same as black pepper. So what is the easiest thing to do? You just take a little bit of that, a little bit of this one, and of course, if you're talking about tons, you can actually also have some economic gain. Perhaps I should also say that in Slovenia, unfortunately, we don't have carabinieri as in Italy you do. We don't have special units. In many member states, they have actually set up a group where experts of different expertise, powers are very important, are gathered on one point, and actually they can share the knowledge and investigate in detail together. In Slovenia, we have to actually ask and merge all our efforts by joining experts, for an example, from the financial administration, police, customs authorities, trade inspectorate, and when we have a case, we have to investigate it together. So it takes a little bit more of organization. Now, if I explain or just mention few of the problems we have encountered lately. To be honest, in Slovenia, the Slovenian consumers are very keen to buy Slovene primary produces, so vegetables and fruits. And we have a specific problem with some business operators who are selling those products on stalls next to the roads. And unfortunately, they're buying it in Italy or somewhere else, so it's not of Slovenian origin. However, they are declaring it as of a Slovenian origin. And the difference in price of Slovenian and, let's say, non-Slovenian origin is a very big one. And since the Slovenian consumers want to buy it and pay more, it's a problem. So we're actually having lots of work when we're trying to catch up the things, because usually they have lots of stalls, and you have to actually go on at the same time on different locations, put everything together, and just find out whether there is a fraud or not. Another case is with the extra virgin olive oil. We take quite some samples each year, and more than half usually do not comply with the extra virgin label.
Yeah.
The virgin one, unfortunately, each year we have one sample of lampante, which should actually not enter into the food chain. And this year we have also started with the activity of, let's say, giving knowledge to the producers, traders, as well as distributors to be aware and what they should actually pay attention of just to avoid future cases. Because generally what we have, because we get the feedback also from other producing countries, that when the product was produced, it was okay. They have some samples, the analytical results proving that it complied with the legislation. Anyhow, whether it was not properly stored or it was kept at wrong temperature, and also other elements which actually influence the result. Perhaps I'd like to mention also an interesting case on the border where we sampled vitamins which can be used for the fortification of food or as ingredient in food supplements. And let's say out of 3 vitamins which were present in the consignments, only 1 was really a vitamin. And another one was starch, and the third one was taurine. So completely different composition. And we can all imagine that the prices differ a lot, especially if you're talking about starch. So you can have lots of different cases. Perhaps I should stop now.
Thank you so very much. I have a few more questions, but before that, I would like to give the floor to Colonel Amedeo De Franceschi. I'm told the Carabinieri, and I'm not saying it because I'm Italian, are probably the best unit in Europe for hunting food frauds, so comfort us.
È così. Grazie per l'invito, grazie per l'occasione di raccontare a nome appunto del mio comando. Io sono il vicecomandante, quindi la devo correggere perché ho sentito commander prima, quindi sono il vicecomandante del comando Carabinieri tutela agroalimentare. È un nuovo comando, che si occupa di frodi commerciali, ovvero di quelle frodi alimentari che non recano un danno alla salute. Se posso, se viene agevolato una presentazione, Comando Carabinieri si occupa, l'Arma dei Carabinieri si occupa da 60 anni ormai di frodi alimentari. Prima con il comando NAS, tutela salute, e da 40 anni anche con questo nostro comando. Il sistema di controllo italiano è basato su 2 pilastri, 2 ministeri di riferimento: salute e food security, food safety e food security. La dico in inglese perché questo termine viene molto ben compreso. Food safety è la differenza con la food security. In Italia molte volte quando parliamo di sicurezza alimentare teniamo a mettere insieme invece entrambe le cose. C'è un problema, come diceva, si parlava prima, la dottoressa parlava di cultura, di conoscenza. Ecco, c'è un problema culturale su questa materia qui. C'è un bisogno di maggiore conoscenza. Frodi commerciali, frodi sanitarie. Il nostro comando, in particolare Agri-Food Protection, quindi tutela agroalimentare, si occupa di queste materie qui. Ci sono dei regolamenti europei, organic food, l'agricoltura biologica, e l'altra grossa materia importante che sono le denominazioni di origine protette. Quindi potremmo definire che ci occupiamo di qualità ambientale, di cibi a qualità ambientale e di cibi a qualità territoriale, praticamente, difendendo la tutela agroalimentare, proteggiamo l'ambiente e proteggiamo anche, come dire, il lavoro operoso dei nostri operatori. Ecco, questi sono regolamenti europei, come diceva la dottoressa, sono le nostre pietre miliari dal quale siamo partiti 30 anni fa per creare come dire, valore al cibo, bene immateriale. Ecco, le nostre denominazioni in Italia ne abbiamo 376, denominazioni di origine protette, parmigiano reggiano, prosciutto di Parma, San Daniele, ma ce ne sono tantissime. E abbiamo qualche centinaio, credo 500 e rotti vini che, insomma, quindi tra food and wine arriviamo, siamo i leader in Unione Europea. E per questo motivo, proprio perché il settore è cresciuto dal punto di vista economico, ora abbiamo 20 miliardi, la cosiddetta DOP economy, abbiamo pensato di sensibilizzare le agenzie e i nostri, diciamo, l'Unione Europea, la Commissione Europea e Europol su combattere il crimine nel settore agricolo e agroalimentare, e nasce da un'iniziativa appunto promossa dall'Arma dei Carabinieri nel 2011 di andare a verificare insieme agli altri paesi quanta sensibilità c'è su questo tema. Siamo partiti nel 2011, ora siamo partiti, eravamo i paesi dell'area mediterranea, ora siamo 70. Ecco, questa è la prima foto del 2010, il primo meeting internazionale. Ma fondamentalmente riusciamo ora, qual è il grosso utilizzo di questo network? Scambio di informazioni. Quindi la collega dell'agenzia slovena può chiedere all'Arma dei Carabinieri informazioni su un falso prodotto venduto in Slovenia e magari, come ho sentito prima, e chiudo così diamo il tempo per l'interprete, in modo da verificare se il cibo venduto in Slovenia è reale, è realmente italiano o sloveno. Chiudo qui perché...
Grazie. Thank you, and now for the English.
Hello to everybody. I'm here to translate the words of the Colonel De Franceschi. In the beginning, he said that he is a vice commander of this command of the Carabinieri in Italy that is working on agro-food difficulties and problems. They are working especially on commercial frauds. There are so many frauds related with food. There are frauds based on health frauds. They are working and fighting against commercial frauds. And the Arma of Carabinieri is working on this since a lot of years ago. So they have 60 years of working on this stuff, on these things. And there are different agencies. They are working on the cases about agro-foods frauds and other things about this. For example, the NAS. And now they have this agency, they have this part of the Arma of Carabinieri. They began 40 years ago. So they are working on food security and food safety. In Italy, when you speak about food security, they usually mistake putting all the things in the same on the same plate. So we need more culture. We need more knowledge about this. So that's why it is important also to be here and to speak about these things. So what about food protection? Especially they are working on problems related on organic food and on the denominations of the PDO denominations. Quindi, so they work on foods, ingredients, quality of ingredients, and quality of ingredients based on the territory and based on the environment. So actually they protect not just the environment or the health of people, but especially the work of the people they are working on it. And more, It's a work based on a lot of relations with other agencies in Europe. So it was very nice to be in touch with other agencies around the continent. There was a photo in the studio about a meeting with other 70 agencies in Europe. They are working on those problems. One of the main things they are trying to do is to share information and share knowledge with other agencies. So, for example, one of the best and the good things that they can do is to share information with the Slovenian partners if they want to have more information about different products and different frauds or problems based on food coming from one country to the other. And this was the example between the relations of between the agency between Slovenia and Italy.
Thank you, Colonel. Thank you. Well, we have now a better idea, or at least I have a better idea of what is the situation in Slovenia and what is food fraud and food safety. Now, the question is actually also for me, because I'm a consumer in Slovenia like everybody else, and I will be a consumer in Italy when I go back. How can I try and see if something is really Italian or really bio or really, I don't know, EGP or not? Is there something the consumer can do? And on a different level and on a different level of curiosity, we speak a lot about Italian sounding, fake Italian. How common is fake Slovenian? Is there a fake Slovenian phenomenon? And how concerned is Slovenia about that? So,
no, can I ask? I was very interested in your comments about the fact that you have problems with fruit and vegetables, and to try to trace back the origin of these products. And so my simple question is, how do you detect that a melon or grapes are coming from Italy more than from Slovenia or Croatia or Spain? What is the tools you have at your disposal to identify the source of the products on the shelves?
Yeah, it's a tough question, to be honest. Well, as I said, if you want to investigate it, you have to identify first where this particular business operator has locations where he's selling the product. Mm-hmm. Then you should send groups or inspectors on each site, and they have to actually quantify the Slovenian as well as the foreign origin of one particular product. We have actually problems more or less with cherries, with asparagus. Those are, let's say, higher price produces. And then we have to actually establish a special link to actually calculate, to see then the invoices, bills he's providing for, let's say, for buying Spanish or Italian cherries, and of course a bill from Slovenian farmer. And quite some times we have actually realized that he has bought, let's say, just 30 kilos of Slovenian cherries, but he has a bill for buying 500 kilos of Italian or Spanish cherries. So this was a basic calculation how we actually were able to prove it. Another possibilities, which is right now still we are developing it, is actually the isotopic analysis. However, with the isotopic analysis, when the bank of data is big enough, you can actually determine the geographical origin of a produce, and you can get the indication whether it was produced there or not. But you know, you get results when the product is already gone. So the most relevant is the first case when I explained that you need to have an action where at one time different inspectors have to visit all of the location, make the calculation, and this is the output. And this is what if I can answer to you, Slovenians are, let's say, willing to pay more for those products, and they are even, you know, stopping at these problematic points, paying more, but unfortunately, we have some cases of frauds.
Colonel, what can a consumer do to
Yeah.
be safer, be sure of what he's buying?
Yeah. Leggere le istruzioni, leggere le etichette. Le denominazioni di origine protette hanno un logo. Dietro quel logo c'è una serie di regole che il produttore deve rispettare, che sono di più ancora di quelle che nel caso in cui il produttore producesse un prodotto generico. Dire prosciutto di Parma significa assoggettarsi a un disciplinare. Quindi il consumatore deve leggere l'etichetta, è una carta d'identità, e sapere che quel logo significa valore aggiunto, significa rispetto anche del costo del lavoro, perché anche lì c'è un problema, insomma, questi prodotti costano di più perché rispettano le regole ambientali, le regole, come dire, di tutela del lavoro. Il costo del lavoro in un'epoca di globalizzazione è il vero problema, cioè noi abbiamo un'importazione, come dire, il problema grosso è l'importazione di prodotti agricoli, agroalimentari a basso costo da paesi dove non abbiamo le stesse tutele e poi, come dire, lì diventa un problema essere competitivi per le nostre aziende. Il consumatore deve assolutamente acquistare prodotti certificati e sapere che sul prezzo del prodotto alimentare non ci sono offerte speciali. Cioè, voglio dire, sul cibo, sulla salute non si scherza. Quindi non esiste l'affare nel settore alimentare. Cioè, non troveremo mai nessuno che vende qualcosa a un costo minore di quello che l'ha prodotto. Quindi è un regalo e non credo che di questi tempi nessuno regala niente. Spero di aver risposto alla sua curiosità.
It's important to read the labels on the products. Usually there are logos, and on the other side of this logo there are rules. And of course, a lot of work. A logo for a PDO shows something that is different than a product that can be a product with no special rules or generic. So when we are thinking about prosciutto di San Daniele or prosciutto di Parma, we certainly know that there are rules and a lot of work doing it. So the consumer must know that a logo of a PDO product shows more value. There is a quality product with a lot of work, and so it can't be a low-cost product. We certainly import a lot of low-cost products coming from other countries, but there are countries with no work protection. So the consumer has to follow and try to buy quality products. They are certificated products, and we have to know that when we are talking about food and health, there are no jokes. We have to be certain of what we are buying, and we have to know that if we buy quality, we have to spend the right amount of money.
Thank you. So that begs practically the question, and I think that's a question for the most expert person on the market here, at least. How much is quality worth to the Slovenian consumer? Is he willing to pay a premium for quality for DOP, or is the price the first and only consideration when he goes to the market?
So the main point is that our firm, we are distributor of Italian food. And when I want to start with somebody, you know, or I want to import some products from Italy, what can I do as a distributor? Of course, I ask for sample. I like it. I check the labels. It is okay. The second is that I ask for technical sheet of the product. It is okay. Then I asked for all standards they have. And Italian distributors, they really have standards, you know. And I always believe the producer, if they have so many standards, because it's not so easy to get a standard, you know. Somebody should certificate the standards, confirm the standards. They follow year to year the standards, and I believe this producer. I prefer to work with, let me say, distributors, large producers, than a homely one. Don't understand me wrong, but I want to be sure that the product which will come in Slovenia shelf, retail shelf, it is under control. It is controlled in Italy, and I believe the producer, and I always say, everybody with whom I start, that I marriage with him. This is my marriage, you know. I have employee, I should believe the producer, and we start a family. So I'm just happy to notice this. But last year with ICE, we prepared super Italian month in Slovenia. And I'm happy because all the system, how ICE help to find the real honest producers. And finally, we show Slovenian consumer the real Italian food. It was perfect project, and I think one of the best one also for the retailer who organized everything. And thank ICE, thank Italy producers. And I think that our aim is to do this more often, you know, because consumers, they will have they touch, they eat it, they eat the product, they have a taste of real mozzarella, real mortadella, for example, not chicken mortadella. You know, this is the main point, that we show the consumer the real taste, the real product, and so on. And I really want to do this. That means I trust the producers, and I want to push this product on the market. If you ask me how, it's not easy. No, it's not easy, because if it will be easy, everybody will do this. It's so important to find the real and the right producers. And of course, then to find the real buyer and the real purchaser in Slovenia who believe in this product. Because the price is so important, to be honest. We are all buyer. We all go to the retail shop. We check. It's maybe a good question for you. What you check when you go to the shelf and notice there are 5 types of rice or 5 types of mortadella? I just divide Slovenian customer in 3 levels, you know. The first level is a common consumer who just check the price. Or they go every time they buy the same rice, or they check the price. And it's not easy to follow this customer. Maybe I can say that this is old generation who don't care so much on quality and so on, but they use the same product all their life, and they take it. And the second group of customers is just the customers who has healthy problems, you know. We should all know that gluten-free products is so important, and other lactose-free products are important. And this customer will just follow these products. They will check the labels, they will check ingredients, they will check everything what is possible, maybe also use web, you know, to find the product, they can eat it. And the third group for me is the most important. This is the customers who want to follow healthy food and healthy life. And of course, they have no problems with gluten, but they will take gluten product from the shelf because they believe it is healthy. And also lactose-free, they will take it because he follow web, social media, he would like to have as knowledge as possible, and they will take these products. And in this group for me is so important, you know, because they understand what we want to explain. And this group is, I think that this group has also a future. And I divide it in two segments. First of all, it is psychological moment, you know. They go to the shop and follow, let me say, the social media, the TV, all the informations. And the second factor, it is social media. That means also vegans, you know. They are care for environment. They want for family. They want all the best for family. So this is the group in which I found also the young population. You know, they follow all proteins. You can find it on the back side of the label. They follow how much sugar is in the product. They check also the salt. So yeah, the young population and the social media make a lot of good for healthy food and also for DOP and EGP. It is necessary to speak more about this segment. But last year, Italian Week was perfect, you know, and I've proposed also other retailers and also to ICE just to follow this project. In this way, you and we just push the real Italian food, the real taste, not fake food because it was tested before. Yeah, it is nice. I always say it is just project for my soul. In the end, we are all happy, you know.
Thank you. And to answer your question, I'm a terrible foodie to the point that they make jokes about me in the office. So I'm not your typical consumer, but I do care very much about DOP, about origins, not so much about healthy, but about origins.
Yeah, but everything is together, you know, because DOP and EGP, it is a part also for healthy food. All the way how they are prepared, they are in connection, you know, and it's mortadella DOP.
Of course.
It is, for example. Or,
of course.
So we just follow, we should follow, yeah, all the segments.
What can we as diplomat, you as ambassador, and I follow you, do to help this quest for food security and for improving the consciousness of consumers about this very important issue?
Yes, to answer, first of all, I would say that I'm very happy to hear that our promotional campaign were successful here in Slovenia. But I mean, so in researching partners, credible partners, and reliable partners on the ground to promote our excellencies here abroad is one of the major topics on the pillars of our action. So we had to promote Italian products, but of course we have to stress and to promote products of quality. And I fully agree with you. The controls are fundamental in order to make our actions credible in front of the consumers. I believe in cooperation. I'm one of the consumer that's usually read the labels on food products. I'm trying to be. I'm not a nationalist in choosing foods on the shelves, but it's part of my tradition, my culture, eating some foods more than others. But I am also very curious, and I try also to buy Slovenian food on the shelves and try it in specific speciality on the ground, and that's very important. I mean, I think it's part of our mission abroad also to promote cooperation also in this field, and so I'm happy also to hear that this constant exchange of views between authorities in charge of detecting food fraud and to prevent and preserve the health of the consumers. So I'm also eager to know if you have some samples of this cooperation, some samples of this activity, and how it was successful in preventing the distribution on the market of some dangerous or potentially dangerous food products to the health of consumers. I don't know if you have some practical samples.
Yes, we have 9 minutes, and I think we can split it evenly with war stories about food safety. Please.
Okay. Perhaps one good example was actually a big importer of organic, I think they were cereals, which was exported further to Italy, and the Italian colleagues found some inconsistencies in the documentation and also in pesticide residues which were found on the produce. And through those systems which are established within the European Union for such an exchange of information, we got the info, we investigated, and I think we exchanged quite some data, but eventually we get to the bottom, and we managed with this particular company to manage everything as it should be. So this is, let's say, one example. Just recently we have asked the Italians, just recently, so it's within, let's say, the last 3 weeks. So I'm looking forward to get some reply later on.
Okay, let's not violate any secret here, please.
No, I'm not talking about anything.
But thank you so very much, Colonel. How is the cooperation in Slovenia, and how can we help?
Proprio grazie alla rete, al network che si chiama Opson. Prima non l'ho detto, Opson deriva dal greco antico, si chiama cibo. Quindi quando abbiamo pensato al nome di questo network, è cibo. Con la Slovenia, diciamo 3 anni fa, durante una attività che la Commissione europea ha voluto stressare, ha voluto aprire un focus sull'agricoltura biologica. E noi abbiamo un database in Unione Europea che ci allerta, che noi possiamo allertare quando abbiamo un problema di scambi, diciamo, tra buyer, tra produttori, commerciali. In quel caso si trattava di mais, e quindi abbiamo chiesto ai colleghi, insomma, delle agenzie slovene di darci una mano per verificare con ispezioni, con attività in Slovenia, di verificare la conformità di questo mais alle prescrizioni dell'agricoltura biologica. E siamo riusciti ad avere un bel risultato, perché abbiamo sventato una classica frode commerciale, grazie appunto a loro, perché altrimenti diventa molto complicato inseguire qualcosa che poi viene venduto, ecco, insomma. E quindi questa era un po' la situazione.
Thank you, Colonel. Let's give the last few minutes for the translation.
In these few minutes, we're talking about the network called Opson. This is a word from ancient Greek language. It means food. And 3 years ago, Italy and Slovenia had collaborated during an activity of the European community. The European community wanted to follow some problems about biologic agriculture, and so it was a database that alerted a problem, a case of potential fake corn, and so the Italians asked the Slovenian colleagues to help them to verify some characteristics of this corn, and yes, it was a fake corn, so it was a classical case of commercial fraud. So thanks to this collaboration and thanks to the fact that they are sharing information, they got it to the bottom, and so they solved this problem and stopped the selling of this corn on the market.
Thank you so very much. Well, in closure, I would like to thank you, all of you, for your participation. I learned a lot today, despite being a foodie. And I think our viewers have a better idea of what the situation is, what is important, even in their own life, to see, to check, in order to eat better, not only for better taste, because taste is completely subjective, but for better quality of food and better quality of life. So thank you all for viewing, and see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.